Good afternoon, beautiful, beautiful soul. How are you today? Donna Michelle Hammersley, body mind coach. How to help you change your life, improve your life by changing your mindset. Now, one thing us humans are really good at is convincing ourselves that we're the only ones that struggle. We convince ourselves that everyone else has got it sussed out and we're failures because we haven't. And that is so not true. Complete and utter bullshit. I just want to start off by reading you something before I go live. Every time before I go live, because I still get nervous sometimes. I don't know why. I haven't quite figured it out, but I'm human, so I get nervous sometimes. So before I go live, I have an affirmation that I say, so I get myself in the right space, energy-wise. And I kind of like put my hand on my heart, and part of my affirmation is, thoughts and ideas flow through me effortlessly, where I speak with clarity, confidence, inspiration, and passion, where I am guided by my higher power, my higher self, to guide and inspire others as I continue on my own journey and development. So I just want to say that again, as I continue on my own journey and development, because I have been coaching for a while, officially, unofficially. I have been working on myself for years. I'm still growing. I am still growing and evolving. And that's what it means to be human, is to continually grow and evolve. And I've said this before, but I'll just say it again because I think you need to hear it today. There's not a single person on this planet who's got it all sussed out. There's not a single person on this planet that doesn't have a bad day. And yesterday, it wasn't a bad day as such, but I had a friend had messaged me, one of my students actually, and she was saying, "Hey Erica, how you doing, lovely?" And she was saying she was worried about me because I've been through a really shitty 14 months. That's on top of everything with coronavirus and stuff. And she was saying something about putting a brave face on things. And the thing is, I'll talk about that in a second, honey. We can talk about that in a second. The thing is, I don't put a brave face on because I am not one of these people who can pretend to feel something that I'm not. So people know when I'm struggling. People know when I'm having a bad day. I have broken down in tears on lives, in classes. I'm not ashamed of that. And on the whole, I've been doing okay. But last night, for some reason, everything hit me. For some reason, when I came home, I was overcome with emotion and I burst into tears. And I was okay with that because I know that trying to repress emotions or trying to deny them or getting annoyed because I feel a certain way doesn't work. I mean, none of us want to feel upset. None of us want to feel depressed. None of us want to feel sad. But there are times we need to, hey lovely, and hey lovely, because emotions are energy. And if we don't express them, if we don't acknowledge them and express them, that is when we can end up with illness and disease or aches and pains in our body because we're not expressing them. So I didn't have to, but I did. I gave myself a few moments to acknowledge the fact that although I'm happier since my husband and I split up, and I'll go into that in a bit more, there was still a part of me that I miss the way we once were. I miss the hopes and dreams we had. I mean, we got married. I wouldn't have got married if I didn't think it was going to be forever. And so there was a part of me that really yearned for what we had before we grew apart. And a part of me that really misses that, even though I know we can't go back there. And also, you know, he's moved on to another relationship, although that hasn't gone quite so well. And I had to acknowledge that as well, that even though we've grown apart, it's still a kick in the gut to know that your partner has moved on with someone else. And so I took time to acknowledge those feelings. And the thing is, we tend to think that healing is a one-time thing. We tend to think that, you know, we grieve over something or we have counseling or whatever, and that's it, done, dusted. But it doesn't work like that. We're kind of like onions, and you peel away a layer. And it's often a case of we will be encouraged, is probably not the best word, but we will be put in a position where we need to deal with certain emotions when we're strong enough to do so. So we may go through a period of grief or whatever, and then we may, kind of be okay, and then we may go through another period of grief because we are strong enough to look at it again. It's like when people have like selective amnesia or amnesia when they've had something bad happen to them. The memories tend to come back when they're emotionally and energetically strong enough to look at them. So if you are the same, if you've had some kind of pain or trauma, whether it's a relationship breakup or whatever, and you thought you've dealt with it and it's come up and kicked you in the gut again, that doesn't make you weak. And it doesn't mean that you're not over it. We don't get over it. We get through it. We don't ever get over anything. We get through it. And sometimes we get through it and we stop and pause. And we're okay there for a little while. And we can go about our life and then all of a sudden it will come up again. But it doesn't mean we've taken a step backwards. It doesn't mean that we haven't moved forward. It doesn't mean, oh, I thought I've got over this. It just means that there's another layer to deal with. Because I realise now that I spent the last couple of years using so much time and energy being like this, trying to convince myself that everything was okay. I was happy, he was happy, everything was fine, and I just used to get through each day. And I realised that I was using so much time and energy, and I literally was surviving day by day. I mean, I've spoken about this before, how selfish I realised I was, because I was focusing on the fact that I was happy enough. I didn't take time to wonder if he was. And I so regret that now. I can't change it. But I realized that I was using pretty much all my emotional energy trying to convince myself. And us humans have an amazing capacity. I started off saying that we have this capacity to convince ourselves that we're the only ones that are struggling. We tend to think we're the only ones that have got problems. We're the only ones that are struggling. Everyone else is sailing through life hunky-dory, and that is simply not the case. It's just not everyone shares their problems like I do. But I was so busy because I wanted us to be okay. I wanted us to be okay. And if by force of will we could have been, then we would have been. But the truth is that we grew apart. We simply grew apart. And if you're lucky in a relationship, you'll grow together or you'll stagnate together, one or the other. But I've realized that so many people are in relationships that don't excite them, that don't make their heart beat faster, that don't kind of like, it's just like, yeah, it's all right. Yeah. We settle either through fear of being on our own or fear of upsetting the person. But I've realized now it doesn't have to be that way. People can be in a relationship long term and still be exciting and still be romantic and still be passionate. But you need to grow together. And unfortunately, we grew apart. And a lot of that is because I've been doing a lot of work on myself. I've been, like, if you want to call it self-development, I've been my own biggest project especially for the last 4 years. And he hasn't. And so we ended up on different levels. And I don't mean levels as in I was better than him, but it just, probably the best way to put it is you kind of like got nothing in common anymore. You know, I was growing and he's got a lot of shit that he needs to deal with, and he's not ready to do that yet. And that's okay. But we were just literally going off in like 2 different galaxies, 2 different universes. And there comes a time when if you can't grow together, then you need to be apart. Because he said to me a little while ago that it used to really piss him off that I'd be on Facebook Lives and I'd be saying how amazing my relationship was and how happy I was, and he'd be watching it being as miserable as sin. And I admitted to him, and I said to him, actually, if I'm being honest, I was probably saying what I wanted to be the truth. I wasn't actually as happy as I was saying I was. I wanted to be happy. I wanted that to be my truth, but it actually wasn't. So I was lying to everyone else as well as myself. But us humans are so good at that. And if we tell ourselves something often enough, it becomes our truth. And usually our lies are along the lines of, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm not clever enough, so-and-so is better than me, I can't do X, Y, Z, I'm too old, I'm too short, I'm too fat, I'm too tall, I'm too thin. Those are the kind of lies we tell ourselves mostly. But we can convince ourselves of just about anything when we want to. And the reason I feel happier since we've split up is because I'm no longer having to pretend to either myself or him. And not many people would admit that. Not many people would admit that they've done that. And I didn't realize I was doing it at the time because I so desperately wanted it to be my truth, and it wasn't. So on one hand, I'm happier that we split up, but of course there's still that, you know, when I got married, I hoped it'd be forever. I hoped that feeling I had on my wedding day was going to be one that I would have forever. And the fact that that isn't the case. So there's part of me that's mourning that. And that's okay. That's called being human. And it's cool being human to have the conflicting emotions, to feel kind of happier because you feel free, but also to feel sad for what was and what is not going to be. You know, all the visions of my future that I had that included him in it. So I mourn for that as well. So I allowed myself to cry, because when we don't allow ourselves to feel, we either explode and take it out on other people by getting angry and shouting at people, smashing things, or even being violent, or we turn it on ourselves by self-sabotaging, by overeating, by drinking too much alcohol, by taking drugs, by self-harming. All those kind of things are forms of shitty ways of expressing our emotions. So it's not, you're not, what's the word? There's nothing wrong with you if you thought you dealt with something and it comes back and kicks you in the gut. As I say, I don't think we get over things. We get through them. And there are so many layers. I mean, when he came to tell me about his new relationship, I literally felt I'd been kicked in the gut. And after I'd calmed down and sat there for a little while, I gave him dating advice. Now, 3 or 4 years ago, I'd have told him where to fucking go. I'd have been out slashing his tires and that kind of thing. But that's not the kind of person I want to be. And just because he's not happy with me doesn't mean I don't want him to be happy. And the other thing is, a few years ago, the fact that he's moved on with someone else would have made me feel worthless, would have made me feel unattractive, because my mind would have been going, well, I haven't found someone else. Oh, I need to find someone else to validate me. And I've actually done that in the past when I was younger, when I've split up with a partner and they moved on with someone else. I actually went out with a guy I wasn't really interested in, simply because I didn't want my ex to think that he could get someone else and I couldn't. Thankfully now I don't have that. I don't have that need for a relationship. And I know, and it's the first time in my life since I was 15 that I've not had a need for a relationship. It's the first time since I was 15 that I've not actually either been in or looking for a relationship. I spent most of my life in a relationship, and now I'm starting a relationship with myself. And in order to have a healthy, happy relationship, and a healthy, happy relationship is one that excites you, is one where you play together, is one where you talk about everything, one where you listen, one where you enjoy each other's company, one where you can spend time apart and together, where you're not looking for someone else to make you happy. You don't put my teeth in. You don't feel responsible for their happiness. They're not responsible for yours. That's a healthy, happy relationship. And you can only have a healthy, happy relationship when you've got a healthy, happy relationship with yourself. Because if we go into a relationship thinking, what can I get? Or looking to that person to make you feel better about yourself, which countless relationships I've had for that reason, because I've only felt good about myself when I was in a relationship. So this is the first time I don't feel that need. But there is still a part of me that occasionally, not that often, but occasionally I've been lonely. It hasn't lasted very long, but I've acknowledged to myself that, God, it would be so nice to be held right now. So I've held myself, because that's the other thing. We need to learn to nurture ourselves and be what we need. Yes, it's nice to have someone there to hug us and to pick us up when we're feeling down, but we need to be able to do that for ourselves first. Otherwise, we're never going to be happy in a relationship, because if that person does something that we don't like, or if that person fails to make us happy, we're going to think the relationship is a failure. You need to have two people who are happy together, not one person who's miserable looking to the other person to make them happy. So I allowed myself to to feel those feelings, to have a cry, to have a good cry. Because as I say, if you try and repress or deny or invalidate feelings or distract yourself, that's one of my things. I try and distract myself. I just lose my self in a book. That's one of my self-sabotaging habits. If I don't want to think about something, if I don't want to feel something, I'll go and read. It's the same as binge watching Netflix. And that also is not healthy, because the other thing is, the quicker we allow our feelings out, the quicker we accept them, the quicker we acknowledge them and honor them, the quicker they will leave. If we want to heal from something, we first need to feel it. We can't get over something if we're denying that we feel that way. And I know men in particular are really good at denying their feelings, and a lot of that is to do with fear of expressing feelings. You know, it's not manly to cry. Oh, be strong, be the strong one. Especially if, you know, he's got a wife and children. Oh, I've got to be strong for the family. And that's, men are so good at repressing, ignoring. If I don't think about it, it's not there. But it will come up and bite you on the ass sooner or later, quite often when you're not expecting it. And we are not robots. We are not robots. So what I want to share with you today is ways that I deal with it now. And the first thing is acceptance. Accept that this is how I feel right now. And I've said this before, whether it's with depression, whether it's with stress, whatever you're feeling, even if you don't want to feel that way, because once you accept it, you take away the pressure. Because if you're feeling a certain way and you don't want to feel that way, you're going to get frustrated with yourself. You're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel annoyed. You're going to feel, oh, for fuck's sake, I thought I dealt with this. You're going to start criticizing yourself. You're going to put so much pressure on yourself. Yet just stopping and saying, okay, I accept this is how I feel right now. And the right now is so important because it reminds you it's only temporary. Right now. This is how I feel right now. It's not going to be forever. It's just right now. And when I discovered that step, when I was going through a real bad bout of depression a few years ago, the moment that came to me, acceptance, I felt calm for the first time in ages. I wasn't magically cured, but I just felt calm. Unburdened was probably the best way to think of it. I always use a backpack analogy. And now imagine you've got a backpack, and in that backpack are bricks. And those bricks represent emotions. Now, depression is one brick. That's bad enough. If you don't accept this is how you feel, you're going to add in guilt. That's another brick. You're going to add in anger. You're going to add in resentment. You're going to add in maybe shame. You're going to add in all these additional emotions that weigh you down. The minute you say, okay, I accept this is how I feel right now, you take every other brick out. And you're just left with whatever it is. And it doesn't mean to say I want to feel this way. It's just acceptance. And it gives you room to breathe. And the other thing along with acceptance is acknowledging and honoring your feelings. If that means you need to have a bloody good scream and shout, do that. I remember a while ago, not long after Armani died, and I was like in a really shitty mood, and I thought to myself, okay, what do I need right now? And I just burst into tears. And it's like, okay, I need to cry. I need to cry. So I did. I mean, it has been proven, if you want to get technical, it has been proven that crying releases or produces hormones in the body that makes us feel better. It's one of the reasons we do cry. Why else would we do it? You know, I have stood in the middle of my field and screamed, as loud as I could. Because that's what I needed to do at that moment in time. Because it's like having a saucepan full of boiling water, putting the lid on it. If you try and keep that lid on, sooner or later it's going to psh and explode. And as I say, you either implode, take it out on yourself, or you explode and take it out on other people. And I've done that before as well. I got in trouble with the police for smashing someone's windscreen because I was taking my anger out, my depression outwards. So acknowledge, honor your emotions, your feelings. Remind yourself that if you get that, oh, I thought I dealt with this. Okay, this is a new layer. This is a new layer. I'm working through it and I'm strong enough to deal with it now. Because if you start with all the frustration, oh, I thought I got over this and blah, 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 blah. Again, you're putting bricks in your backpack that you don't need there. Healing is not a one-time thing. Stuff will resurface, and it's okay because it gets easier and easier each time. The second thing is to have a daily mindset routine, morning and evening. Because if you're not working on your happiness, if you're not working on your mindset, that is like trying to get fit without doing any exercise, or trying to stay healthy without eating good food, without, eating junk food, drinking loads of alcohol, all that kind of stuff. We need to work on our mindset. We can't just magically expect ourselves to feel happy, joyful, excited, motivated, disciplined, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't always happen. If you knew you were going on a free holiday tomorrow, you would get yourself up out of bed at 4:30 a.m. Yet to go to a job that you don't like, you'll probably drag yourself out of bed at 6 o'clock. But you do it. You do it because you have to. When you have a mindset routine, and I don't just mean necessarily listening to a motivational speech, I mean consciously working on your mindset. My routine might not work for you, but I have a set routine, and I sit on the toilet and do it. I've got a piece of paper on the cupboard sat opposite me, and I go through a series of questions. The first one is, I'm so happy and grateful that, and I come up with something, and some of it may be something that is true or something that I want to be true. So say I've been feeling tired, I will say, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm full of energy and vitality today. Or I'm so happy and grateful that I get to teach a fantastic class with amazing students. So it can be something that I am genuinely grateful for, that I already have, but I'll also pick something that I want to have, because our mind can't tell the difference between what we're thinking and what is actually happening. So if you're focusing on how shit your life is, how much you hate your job, how miserable you're feeling, guess what? Guess how you're going to feel? Shit. So that's the first one. I'm so happy and grateful that. The second one is, I am so excited at the thought of, and quite often I'll use that one if there's something that I'm not particularly looking forward to. Say, for example, I've got to watch a training video and I really feel like, I can't be bothered. I'll say to myself, I'm so happy and excited about watching this training video because it's going to give me lots of inspiration and ideas, and I'm going to feel so good afterwards. Again, I say what I want to be true. I'm setting my mindset for the day, because most of us, our mind is just on a reel. It's on like autopilot, and it goes along the lines of, oh God, I feel shit today. Oh, what have I got to do today? Oh my God, look at crap. Oh, another grey hair. Did I forget to buy some milk? Oh, what else have I got to do today? Oh, I've got to do that report. And it's like unconscious. We need to make it conscious. We need to make a conscious effort to put ourselves in a positive mindset. The third one on my list is, I will show up as my best possible future self by being disciplined and organized, for example, by visualizing where I want to be in 3 months' time. What version of yourself do you want to be? If you could change yourself in any way, if you could wave a magic wand and be a certain way, how would you want to be? Who would you want to be? And visualize that. So I'm visualizing, I'm putting myself in the energy, because so many of us think I'll be happy when, or I'll change when. Feel it first, and then the change will come. So even if you're feeling in the shittiest mood, how do you want to feel? I'll show up as my best possible future self by working on my mindset. I'll show up as my best possible future self by not allowing XYZ to bother me today. The fourth one is, today I choose to experience. Today I choose to experience energy, inspiration, excitement, joy, happiness. What do I want to experience? Again, we focus too much on what is instead of what we want. What do we want to feel? Because when you're feeling in a shitty place, once you've acknowledged that's how you feel, once you say, okay, I accept this is how I feel, once you've let all your emotions out, once you've screamed, shouted, cried, whatever, ask yourself, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? And what can I do to get me there? Because as I say, if you're just sat there feeling miserable and you don't do anything, you're gonna fucking stay miserable. And I know, because I've done it. I've self-sabotaged myself so many times, feeling shitty, feeling unmotivated, feeling lazy, and just sitting there in the back of my mind moaning at myself because I'm just sitting there and not getting on with stuff, knowing I'm going to get pissed off at myself because I'm just sitting there reading instead of doing something about it. So take it from me, I know. How do I want to feel? I'm so excited about. Today I choose to experience. What do you want to experience? Joy, excitement, freedom, lots of energy. Experience having an amazing day at work. Today I choose to believe. Today I choose to believe. Today I choose to believe that I have a message that someone needs to hear. And I'll be so heart-warmed when someone appreciates it. Today I choose to believe that I have the energy to do XYZ. Today I choose to believe that I'm going to get the answer to the question that's been pissing me off for weeks. So you can choose your own questions, but it's not about what is, it's about what you want. What you want. Feel that way first, or think that way first, and put yourself in that energy. So you may have a different morning routine. You may get up and do a couple of minutes dancing and shaking, journaling, brain dumping, getting all your thoughts, all those negative thoughts down on paper to get them out of your head. Find a way to set your mindset so that you do become the master of your own mind, because most of us are a slave to our thoughts. Most of us are just listening to this constant negative reel and wondering why we're feeling shit. And I get so fucking annoyed about it that people aren't getting off their asses and doing something about it, because I do it. Because I sometimes don't get off my ass and do it, and I get annoyed with myself. So I'm here being honest that I fucking self-sabotage as well. But I know how to get out of it. So find a daily mindset routine. It doesn't have to be long, 5-10 minutes. Find a way. Listen to your favorite song in the morning. Whatever it is, choose your attitude the same way you choose your clothes, the same way you style your hair, the same way you choose what to eat for breakfast. Choose how you want to feel that day. And ask yourself, what do I need to do to get me to feel that way? What do I want to feel? What can help me feel that way? So those are the three main tips. Accept how you're feeling, acknowledge, honor your feelings, express them in whatever way feels good at that moment in time. Go and buy some cheap plates from a charity shop, smash them, do whatever. Have a daily mindset routine and do it. It should be daily. The clue's in the title, daily, just as you eat breakfast every day or dinner every day, to set your mindset. Otherwise you will become a slave to your thoughts and a victim of your circumstances. It's as simple as that. I know when my routine slips, so does my mind, so does my mood. If I don't stick to my routine, my mood slips. It's the same as like in the afternoon sometimes when I'm feeling really like, oh, I really can't be bothered. I get up and fucking do something, because I know sitting there thinking I really can't be bothered is not going to make me bothered. Acknowledge and honor your feelings. Have a daily mindset routine in whatever form suits you. And then ask yourself, how do I want to feel? And what do I need to do to get me that way? So if I'm trying to get into a different energy, say like for doing a live, and I'm really thinking, if I'm feeling really nervous or like, I don't know what to talk about, I focus on how excited I'll feel afterwards. I focus on the fact that there's one person out there who really needs to hear this message today, that I could possibly change that one person's life by sharing my message. And so I focus on how I feel afterwards. And procrastination is another topic. But negative people, going back to Erica, I don't know if she's still here, but going back to negative people, I'll say one thing to start with. And this really is all you need to know, but we'll go into it a little bit more. People only say negative things to or about you due to their own insecurities. I just want you to get this, I'll say it again. People only say negative things to or about you due to their own insecurities. In other words, someone who is happy, fulfilled, not going through trauma, does not want to make someone else feel shit. I have no inclination to make you feel like crap. Most people who say hurtful things or say negative things what they're actually trying to do is drag you down to make them feel better. It's the same with bullies. Most bullies are insecure, and they try and make themselves feel better, try and make themselves feel important by bullying someone else. There's a lot of people out there who literally will try and make themselves feel better by making you feel like shit. And once you understand that, once you get that, you can imagine you've got a huge, great fly swat, and any negative person who comes into your energy field, you imagine swatting them out of the way. It's as simple as that. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it is simple. But yeah, most negative people, most people who say horrible things, who try and make you feel like shit, they are going through their own pain. They're going through their own wounds. They are going through their own insecurities. They are hurting, and hurt people hurt other people. And once you remember that, once you remember it's not about you, you are better able to not let anyone's negative comments bother you or get to you. It's like I've never really been trolled. I used to have people asking to suck my toes and strange things, but I've never actually had people come on my lives and say negative things, which a lot of other people have done. And I don't know if it's because I protect myself. And my healer friend Jo found this out the other day. She tried to give me some healing without telling me beforehand. And she said, it bounced straight off you. She said, you were in a bubble. It bounced straight off. So I visualized myself in like a big bubble of white light energy all around me to keep me safe from negative thoughts. And the other thing is, I know now that if someone said something negative and horrible and mean, that I would be able to stop, take a breath, and realize that it's not about me, it's about them. But quite often as well, when we start to change and grow, especially Erica, so I don't know if she's here now, but she's doing a lot of college work, working for a degree. And sometimes when you're improving yourself like that, it can highlight other people's perceived inadequacies. And I say perceived because it's not like you're saying they're inadequate, but they may see you rising, and instead of rising to join you, they'll try and drag you back down. And that's where healthy boundaries come in as to who you allow in your circle and who you will cut out. But we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, negative people, just imagine you've got a massive fly swat, and remember you have the choice whether to react to them or not, because no matter what they say, no one can make you pissed off, no one can make you hurt. Only you have that choice and that power. No one else is that powerful enough. We have the choice to listen and to accept what they want to say. But as long as you write down something, get a pen and paper, write it down, people will only say negative things to or about you due to their own insecurities. And once you remember that, you'll find it so much easier to not be affected by it. So have an amazing rest of the day. I hope some of this has been of value to you. And yeah, if you know anyone else who would find it valuable, who needs to hear this message today, then please share, invite, tag, whatever. And just remember that healing is not a one-time thing. We are not robots. Getting over a trauma, whether it's losing a parent, losing a partner, losing your pony, whatever it is, it's not something we tick off and say, right, that's done with. I can forget about that now. It doesn't work that way. We don't work that way. So don't be afraid to feel, and don't be afraid to express your emotions, because that way you can continue moving forward, moving through. When we don't get over stuff, we go through it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Beautiful, beautiful souls. I know I probably waffled on for longer than I was planning to. And if you want to know more about working with me on a one-to-one basis, either on one of my programs or one-to-one coaching, then just bung me a message. See you all soon. Mwah.